Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Mustaka Mansa Paribhajagacharya Sakare Vismada Pilitam Visarasana Goswami Bhagavati Jaya Nanda Kori Vaishnavati Jaya Ramacharya Sriharidasa Thakur Jaya Names of the whole Sri Krishna Sri Radha Krishna Bhogavna Sampan Radha Krishna Vrindavan Dham ki Jaya Navadvip Dham ki Jaya Ganga Maya ki Jaya Jamuna Maya ki Jaya Guru Dwarka Dham ki Jaya Swami the Bhaktivinoda ki Jaya All glories to the All glories to the Thank you very much. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rajaratha Madhu, Hare Vailam Bhagavatam Hare Sriman Aila Kesan Nam Bhojile Vishikasa Sriman Aila Kesan Sakati Nadopadesa Sakati Nadopadesa Sakati Nadopadesa Ekbar Sakati Nadopadesa Ekbar Hari Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to the Jai. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. This morning we are being given a class from Canto 2, Chapter 2, and text 37. We're very fortunate this morning to have Her Grace Gita Devi Dasi, Mother Gita from ISKCON Atlanta to give the class. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let me see if she's still there. I think she went off briefly. So the word is, let's just give a little break here. I'm sure she'll be back on in a few minutes, if not even sooner than that. But yeah, this morning's class is being given by Gita Mataji. And I hope this is the beginning of a week, of course, at least a work week. And good that you've all gotten on here. Now just be a little patient. Let's wait for Mataji to come on. Hare Krishna. I always have the option of calling if she's not able to get on yet. But at this point, all we can do is wait a little bit.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Jai.
Jai.
Jai. Bless Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Sri Prabhupada.
Okay. I'm looking, she's not on there yet. So whatever has happened, all I can do is appeal to what is here. She's back. Wonderful. Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji. Again, so I'll start. This is the Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 2, Text 37. And we're fortunate to have Her Grace Gita Devi Dasi from ISKCON Atlanta to give a class. Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I don't know what happened. It kicked me out of Zoom.
Oh.
and
yeah.
Then it did not connect.
Oh, electronics, yeah. As they say, it's almost perfect. Huh?
Almost.
Almost. Hare Krishna. Please go on. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Gita ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraid Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, text number 37. Pibanti ye bhagavata atmanah satam kathamritam shravana puteshu samvritam punanti te vishaya vidushitashayam prajanti tacharana saroruhantikam. Pibanti, who drink, ye, those, bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead, atmanaha, of the most dear, satam, of devotees, katha amritam, the nectar of the messages, shravana puteshu, within the ear holes, sambritam, fully filled, punanti, purify, they, there, vishaya, material enjoyment, vidushita, ashayam, polluted aim of life, rajanti, do go back, tat, the Lord's, charana, feet, Saroruha Antikam, near the lotus. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment, and thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead. Purport. The sufferings of human society are due to a polluted aim of life, namely, lording it over the material resources. The more human society engages in the exploitation of undeveloped material resources for sense gratification, the more it will be entrapped by the illusory material energy of the Lord, and thus the distress of the world will be intensified instead of diminished. The human necessities of life are fully supplied by the Lord in the shape of food grains, milk, fruit, wood, stone, sugar, silk, jewels, cotton, salt, water, vegetables, etc., in sufficient quantity to feed and care for the human race of the world, as well as the living beings on each and every planet within the universe. The supply source is complete, and only a little energy by the human being is required to get his necessities into the proper channel. There is no need for machines and tools or huge steel plants for artificially creating comforts of life. Life is never made comfortable by artificial needs, but by plain living and high thinking. The highest perfectional thinking for human society suggested here by Shukadeva Goswami, namely, sufficiently hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. For men in this age of Kali, when they have lost the perfect vision of life, this Srimad Bhagavatam is the torchlight by which to see the real path. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada has commented on the Kathamritam mentioned in this verse and has indicated Srimad Bhagavatam to be the nectarian message of the personality of Godhead. By sufficient hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, the polluted aim of life, namely lording it over matter, will subside, and the people in general in all parts of the world will be able to live a peaceful life of knowledge and bliss. For a pure devotee of the Lord, any topics in relation with his name, fame, quality, entourage, etc., are all pleasing. And because such topics have been approved by great devotees like Narada, Hanuman, Nanda Maharaj, and other inhabitants of Vrindavan, certainly such messages are transcendental and pleasing to the heart and soul. And by the constant hearing of the message of the Bhagavad Gita and later of Srimad Bhagavatam, One is assured herein by Srila Shukadev Goswami that he will reach the personality of Godhead and render him transcendental loving service in the spiritual planet of the name Goloka Vrindavan, which resembles a huge lotus flower. Thus, by the process of bhakti yoga directly accepted as suggested in this verse, by sufficient hearing of the transcendental message of the Lord, the material contamination is directly eliminated without one's attempting to contemplate the impersonal Virat conception of the Lord. And by practicing bhakti yoga, if the performer is not purified from the material contamination, he must be a pseudo devotee. For such an impostor, there is no remedy for being freed from material entanglement. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the second canto, second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Lord in the Heart. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Last verse of this chapter, once again. Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment, and thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead. Very, very nice verse, the very last verse summarizing the whole chapter. And this particular verse is giving us a formula by which we can go back to the spiritual world. And the simple formula is hearing, 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 hearing. Hearing Bhagavad Gita, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, it's a beautiful long purport, which actually explains the whole verse in that chapter completely. But still, I would like to stress on some of the very, very important points he made in the purport. First of all, he says people do not have proper aim in life. Their aim is polluted, it's contaminated, and they want to lord it over. They want to be the controllers, you see, and each one is trying to exploit the other. Especially nowadays in Kali Yuga, even friendship is based on exploitation. What can I get from you? If I can get something from you, then you're my friend. Otherwise, goodbye. Family, friends, colleagues, all of them only interested in exploitation. Why? Because the aim is to enjoy the senses, sense gratification, and that leads one to fall deeper and deeper into Maya, which is illusion. And in the process, they are experiencing distress, and there seems to be no relief at all. But Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, just by hearing, we can get relief from all the distress. You see, as Prabhupada mentions, Krishna has provided us with all the necessities. But unfortunately, people in general want luxuries. They are not satisfied with necessities. What has the Lord given us? Everything. Prabhupada mentioned supply of food grains, dairy products, salt, everything. There is, basic necessities, as you can say. Sufficient, and also in sufficient quantity. It's not that there is, necessities are there for some and not for the others. If the Lord can provide pounds and pounds of food for an elephant, and imagine how many elephants are there in this world, why wouldn't He supply necessities for us? He definitely would, you see. But we want more and more and more. That's greed. It's easy to satisfy a hungry person, a thirsty person, an angry person, but not a greedy person, because they want more and more and more. And unfortunately, people like to hoard everything. Whatever I can get, Let me save it for a rainy day. That's exploitation. That's running after comforts of life and not being satisfied with bare necessities of life. Simple living, high thinking. Lead a simple life so that we can concentrate, we can use our time in self realization. That is high thinking. You see, we've forgotten this simple formula. Human life is not meant for living like animals. It's meant for self realization. It's meant for going back to the spiritual world, back to Godhead. And that's what this verse is giving us the formula. What's the simple formula? Hearing. Hearing the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we do every morning here, Monday through Friday. You see, people in general have lost, the perfect vision of life. And Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching us what is the purpose of human life. Its Prabhupada says it's like a torchlight, which is showing us the real path. And until and unless we have the torchlight, we will be lost. And what is Srimad Bhagavatam talking about? It's just talking about the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So if we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, the pollution that is there in our heart and in our minds will gradually be removed. And the polluted aim of life will subside. Then we will not have the inclination to lord it over everybody. Like it is said, Lord of all I survey. Then a person will understand the true identity. Who am I? What is my goal in this human form of life? And then one starts progressing on the spiritual path, then one will be able to lead a peaceful life. Many times people think there is peace only after death. No, we can lead a peaceful life even in this present body. You see, the pure devotees, they like to hear Srimad Bhagavatam again and again and again. Why? Because it is full of pastimes of the Lord. And when they hear about the Lord, when they hear about Krishna's holy name, pastimes, qualities, and all, they become very happy. It's very pleasing to them. It pleases their heart and their soul. So if one constantly hears Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita also, then Shukadev Goswami is giving an assurance that if we regularly hear these scriptures, at the end we will go back to the spiritual world. And what will we do over there? We will render devotional service to the Lord. You see, these scriptures are so powerful sound vibrations that just by hearing we can purify ourselves. Bhagavad Gita gives us a basic understanding who we are, who is the Supreme Lord. And Srimad Bhagavatam gives us more knowledge about the Supreme Lord's pastimes, his fame, everything about the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches us how to love the Supreme Lord Krishna. You see? So just by performing this activity of hearing, and not just hearing, sufficient hearing, that's very, very important. Sufficient hearing is required, which means regularly. When we hear the pastimes of the Lord regularly, then all the contamination will be removed and there will be purification of the heart. And this very last verse of this chapter is so very important. It's giving us the formula to go back to the spiritual world. Now the big question arises, how do we purify our aims? Just by drinking this nectar of the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing the nectarian pastimes of Krishna, drinking through our ears. Prahlad Maharaj, he gives the 9 processes of devotional service. And the first one is Shravanam, which is hearing. Because these sound vibrations are very powerful. They are transcendental, they are spiritual. And as soon as they enter our ear holes, they go directly to the heart and purify the heart. That's the power of these sound vibrations of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it not only purifies our heart, but it also purifies our aims, our aspirations, our goals in life. You see, since a very long time, our aims and aspirations, they all have become contaminated because we are only focusing on enjoying our senses. But hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, it purifies everything. And then what is the end result? We attain to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. And all that we have to do is just hear Srimad Bhagavatam sincerely and seriously. You see, studying Bhagavatam is important because just hearing is good, but it's not good enough. Because when we hear, it needs to stay over here. And if we hear sincerely and seriously, it's going to stay here. And then we can contemplate on it. And then there's going to be churning of the heart. And then there's going to be purification. You see? So what is the benefit of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Our goals, our aims, our aspirations, they all get purified. Contamination is removed. You see? Many times people, they have, of course, I think everybody has aspirations, and most of them, they aspire to become rich, they aspire for all material goals. I want this and that and all. But no one, very few, they aspire to lead an uncontaminated life. Very few aspire to have very purified, clean aspiration or goal, and that is to go back to the spiritual world. So here, Shukadev Goswami is giving us a secret formula to go back to the spiritual world. Now, someone may say, what is wrong in earning money? What is wrong in becoming rich? Well, there's nothing wrong. Devotees also like to earn money. They also like to eat nice prasadam. They like to eat a big feast. That's fine. But the consciousness is different. They desire to earn money so that they can serve the Lord more nicely, so that they can use their earnings in Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami says, Anyabhilashita shunyam, jnana karma navritam. See, anakulena krishnanu, shilanam bhakti. There has to be a pure devotional service to the Lord with no contamination, no desire for, jnana, karma, nothing at all. Pure, absolutely uninterrupted, unmotivated devotional service. That is what is recommended. It's not that devotees have no desire. They do have desire, but it is not contaminated. You see? It's not conflicting with their bhakti. They also desire to have a good career, earn money, but use it in a Krishna conscious way. Krishna didn't tell Arjuna, no, go and beg. You don't need to be a king. You don't need a kingdom and opulence and all that. No, just go and beg from door to door. No. He told him, your prescribed duty as a warrior, as a soldier, as a kshatriya is to fight. You fight the battle, but don't think of the result. Don't think I'm going to enjoy the results of my activities. So it's just a state of consciousness. So it's okay. Yes, we can become rich, we can earn, we can have a great business, we can have a good career, everything. But everything that we do should be in a Krishna conscious way. Yat karoshi, yat ashnashi, yat juhoshi, dadashi. This is what Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita. Whatever we do, whatever we offer, whatever sacrifices we perform, they should all be done for the Lord, for the Supreme Lord. So, to be able to hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and sincerely, we have to make sure our association is good. When we associate with materialistic people, we get influenced, we get contaminated, then our aspirations, aims, goals, everything becomes contaminated because we get influenced. Nowadays, even the kids get influenced by social media. I mean, I have noticed whenever I'm walking, whether it's in the grocery store or wherever, kids, their heads are down on the phone and they're just tuk, 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 they just all the time on the phone or on the iPad. Even little babies, infants, mothers give them iPads so that they can watch something, so that they're quiet, they don't cry. So the influence of social media is very, very strong. And because of that influence, many desires and ideas and all that is planted in our minds, you see. So we have to be very careful what kind of sound vibrations are going into our ears. Need to focus on spiritual sound vibrations. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These are the powerful sound vibrations. Hearing sound vibrations of Srimad Bhagavatam, very, very powerful. So if we associate with devotees, especially with pure devotees, and we hear from them, then our aspirations, they get purified. This is what Srila Prabhupada is talking about in the purport. And if we follow this secret formula, actually it's not a secret, it's there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, how to go back to Godhead. So instead of running after name, power, money, etc., if we can somehow or the other concentrate on purifying our aims and aspirations. How? By regularly hearing Srimad Bhagavatam in association of devotees. Srila Prabhupada has given us a very simple process, which is called a strong morning sadhana, strong morning program. Wake up early in the morning, do the arati to the Lord, chant our Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, all our rounds in the morning, attentively, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, An apple a day keeps a doctor away. One Srimad Bhagavatam class every morning keeps Maya away. Then we will not get influenced by the material sound vibration. So morning program is very, very important. What are the benefits? There's purification. And as per this verse, it clearly states, Shukadev Goswami is saying that if we hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, there's going to be purification. And finally, we will attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. We'll become very close to the lotus feet of Krishna, which means we will go back to the spiritual world and serve there with love and devotion. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam. Buddhi, intelligence. Krishna says, when one serves me with love and devotion, I give them the intelligence by which they can come back to me. So the aim of human form of life is not to eat, sleep, and be merry. Even the animals do that, eat, sleep, everything. They do. But since we have philosophical intelligence, we should use it and understand, who am I? Am I this body or am I the spirit soul? Why am I in this material world and why am I suffering? And how do I come out of this cycle of suffering? These are intelligent inquiries that a human should, think about. And the answers are given in the scriptures, in the Vedas. The summary of the Vedic literature is Srimad Bhagavatam. And the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam is the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a high school level, Srimad Bhagavatam is graduate level, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita that teaches us how to love the Lord is the PhD level, postgraduate level. So everything is given to us. We have it. All we need to do is accept it. All we need to do is hear. Hearing is a very powerful sense. We may be asleep. None of our senses may be working, but the ears are awake. They are working. A little bit of sound and our sleep is disturbed. That's how powerful our ears are. So we should use them wisely, not allow material garbage to go inside the ears, because that'll influence our aims and aspirations. That'll contaminate our aims, our goals, our aspirations. So that is why it's important that we hear Srimad Bhagavatam every morning. And thanks to Parikshit Prabhu and Mother Anasuya, they have this program every morning, a Srimad Bhagavatam class at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, to benefit us, so that we can get the benefit of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And the end result is going back to Godhead. It's not that difficult. Krishna has given us 24 hours a day. We can easily spend 1 hour just hearing the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this purport of Srila Prabhupada is very powerful, very, very powerful. I would humbly suggest that after the class, read this purport again and again, again and again. It is full of transcendental message. So the verse again, those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment, and thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead. So I'll end here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for a very nice class. Reminder of how the human body is to be used. Not eat, sleep, and be married like the animals try to do. We can't just be sophisticated animals. We have to be humans and live in such a way that our life is purified, and it's definitely explained nicely, especially. Thank you for also reminding us to go back and read the purport over and over and over again, so that we can internalize the message there and try to live by it, and so that we'll be happy ourselves. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, this is the time for Krishna Katha discussions, realizations, questions, connections, as you like. So please unmute yourself and join in. Krishna Saranam, Krishna Saranam Prabhu. Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. So, going back to Godhead, it sounds so simple. All you have to do is open your ears and keep hearing. So for hearing, so many lectures are there, so many onlines are there. But is it okay? I mean, just to read the Bhagavatam, just the shlokas and the translation, or you have to go through all the purport. That way, you will never complete the Bhagavatam in your life. So I was thinking, even there are audio books that just recite the translation. So is that okay to listen to Bhagavatam shlokas, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for a very important point. I'm glad you brought it up. Sorry, I have bad news for you. No, we need to read purports. Very, very important, because we don't have the capacity or intelligence to understand the verses just by reading the translations. And Srila Prabhupada has taken so much troubles. He has, it's unimaginable, you know, the hours and hours he has spent in, writing these purports, because he knows that without the purports, it's very difficult to understand the verses. Don't worry if it takes a lifetime to read Srimad Bhagavatam, but very, very important to read the purports. So, yes, Shukadev Goswami is clearly saying just by hearing, we can go back to Godhead, but then we need to understand, who do we hear from? Okay, when you want to read Srimad Bhagavatam, read it loud so that the sound vibrations go inside the ear holes. Because if we read it in our mind, we will not even realize that we are reading, but we are actually not really reading it. You see, we are just going through the pages without realizing what we are reading. So if we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we should read it aloud so that we can hear those sound vibrations. And secondly, reading purports is very, very important, very important. And yes, it is easy to go back to Godhead just by hearing, but we need to understand that we should hear from pure devotees and hear it with sincerity and seriousness, not that we are doing other things at the same time. You see, then there is no focus on hearing. So when we are hearing, that's the only thing that we do. We don't do other things while hearing, because otherwise our mind will get distracted. See, so hearing has to be from a pure devotee, and that is Srila Prabhupada. If we hear one Srimad Bhagavatam class of Srila Prabhupada every day, we are in good hands. Does that make sense, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. So thank you very much. So I just, I have that radio, Prabhupada radio. It has all the lectures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and everything. That's what I listen to. I don't much reading, as you know.
Yes.
But I just listen to Prabhupada lectures on that radio. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, I do that too. During DT worship, I just listen to that Srila Prabhupada radio, so that, one class of Srila Prabhupada goes into the ear holes. I remember I had in the early years of my coming to Bhakti, this was my question to the spiritual master, that you have asked me to read Bhagavad Gita, and is it okay if I read just the translations? Then I'll finish it quickly. It'll be very easy to breeze through the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, no, you have to read the purports, because Srila Prabhupada, he has, given us that transcendental message through his purports. We'll be able to understand. So this is the instruction I had received. So I hope that helps.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Nice lecture.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Thank you very much. And as Prabhu was talking about this, I realized that I've been given instructions actually on what to do, the service involving Srimad Bhagavatam. I also had the same thoughts. Oh, but I know that I have to reach the Prabhupada's purpose, definitely to understand it. There's no question about it. But it would be nice to hear a recording of the whole Sanskrit, English translation, purport by Srila Prabhupada. And after not finding it anywhere, I started doing it myself because I have some recording equipment. So I talked to Chandamali Swami, and he says that, okay, do a canto and then put one canto out and then go to the next canto. So, yeah. So it's service I'm doing right now. And actually, the good news is that I practically finished first canto. So according to Chandamali Swami, I'm going to put it out now. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish the whole thing because it's very, 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 especially the editing part is quite involved. But at some point, when everything is cleaned out properly, then I will in fact begin to tell the Buddhists where they can find hearing with purport. Hare Krishna. So it's a service I've kind of taken on as service to Srila Prabhupada. Those of us that never saw him when he left his body by the time he became Krishna conscious, I just wanted to do that for his pleasure. Hare Krishna. Any other devotees want to comment or ask questions?
Yes, Mother, I have a very quick question, Mother, and I promise that will end soon, Mother. Mother, thank you for the question by Krishna Sasaranam Prabhu, because as he was asking that question, I was thinking about, like cooking. We just can't follow the recipe and think we know how to cook. We have to be shown how to cook, how to turn on the stove, how much to put. It's like we need the practicals. The same thing with school. Those of us that have done science in school, we just can't do the theory. We need the practicals in the laboratory. So the same thing with Krishna consciousness, reading Bhagavatam, we just can't read and think that we're going to get it. We need to hear from a higher source, a higher authority to help us understand what we're reading is making sense. So that was a good point. My question, Mother, is this. When you were talking about, Krishna and Arjuna, when the Lord told him, leave it up to me, I'll take care of everything, don't worry. And Mother, it's very hard for us to develop the consciousness, probably on the small things, but if it's a really big thing that is going to affect our life, we can't say, okay, Krishna, do as you will, I'm just going to sit and chant, right? Like, how can we develop, Mother, or what does it take to really develop that consciousness or that understanding that Krishna, I'm surrendering to you. This is a big thing. I'm a little bit attached, but at the same time, I have no control. You handle it. Like, how do we develop that kind of consciousness, Mother?
Just like Srila Prabhupada says, if you're not enthusiastic, you pretend to be enthusiastic, and then gradually you'll become enthusiastic. So for this also constant practice is required. We keep reminding ourselves again and again and again, so that the mind understands that, okay, this is the consciousness that we need. And if we are in good association of devotees, then it is very, very easy to do that, to put it into practice. So good association and of course guidance from senior devotees, that helps us, you see, because our mind may say, oh, I'm doing good, I'm not attached at all, I'm completely detached, and I'm doing everything for Krishna, etc., etc. But that may not be the case. So, it's guidance, good association, and constant reminder.
Guys, thank you very much, Mataji. So,
Mother Gita has to go for an appointment. So if
I understand. I was going to say that exactly. Okay. Yeah. So, that's okay. It happens. You have to take care of the body also. That's all we have to use to serve the Lord. So that's understandable. So dear devotees, if you have any final questions, final thoughts, please unmute yourself and do so now. I think Soma Mataji, you want to ask a question? I saw you unmute yourself. Hare Krishna. Okay. So she then responds, maybe it was just
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Nice lectures, Mataji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Anyone else? Okay. So thank you, Gita Mataji, for a very, very wonderful class, reminding us what we need to do to go back to Godhead is right there in the text, along with the purport and what to do. So thank you so much. Dear devotees, thank you for coming in your numbers too this morning. Wonderful. So all of you have a wonderful Krishna conscious week. Jai. Vanchakapatru Vishya Kripa Sunive Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Hari
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.